Hello and welcome to a special edition of Art's Corner. I'm Art McFadden. I'm the Compliance and Security Officer for ISTT. I'm a retired police officer and a cyber cop. And joining me today is a friend of mine. Captain, tell us about yourself.
Hello, I'm Captain Kemble Johnson. I currently work at the Warren County Sheriff's Office. I've been in law enforcement approximately 16 years, started at Western Kentucky University, then progressed. I was there for probably 4.5 years, moved to the Sheriff's Office. I've been a supervisor there most of my career. I'm now currently the captain of First Shift Patrol.
All right. And he and I, God help him, but he and I actually lived real close to each other many years ago, back in Franklin.
That's right.
Yeah.
I remember well.
Yep. It seems like a lifetime ago, didn't it?
It is a lifetime ago.
Since this is October and Cyber Safety Month, what we're doing is we're obviously calling all of our law enforcement agencies in the area and seeing what are you guys seeing or getting reports on that concern you. What are the big ones that are really, hey, we need to address this and get the word out to the public?
Well, we get a lot of scams where they're calling in and actually saying you have a warrant. And some of those scams are even representing themselves to be the sheriff's office. They're giving badge numbers, officer names. There's been a couple of occasions where it's actually been one of our officers' names that was used. And then they're requesting that you pay money so that you don't get arrested for a warrant or outstanding warrant or maybe a failure to appear in court.
And Captain, you guys don't take PayPal, do you?
No, that's absolutely not. The sheriff's office, we're never going to contact you and request money by phone. So that's a red flag right there as soon as you get that. And then anytime you hear anything where they're wanting payment for whatever, it's going to be urgent. They're going to be requesting urgent payment, and they're going to want it either in a gift card or possibly Western Union. Those type of things are automatic red flags that you're dealing with somebody that's scamming you.
You and I were talking earlier today, and we had some similar cases. It almost sounds like the exact same case copied several times, and unfortunately we worked several of them. Can you talk about that? Talk about that case where you had where the older person was scammed and how you were able to help convince them.
Well, it was I got originally received a call, went over, responded to a house, nice house, super nice lady. She was elderly, but well educated, very smart lady. And what she had received prior to my arrival, and it had been going on actually the scam for a couple of months, is she believed she had won the lottery. And she believed she had won a couple of $1 million and was she was very smart and had documented everything from names, phone numbers, had a detailed list of the contacts, as well as the checks that she had sent to individuals. And what the scam actually was saying you had won, but in order to receive your winnings, you were going to have to prepay fees, which I think were, described as taxes or prepaying some taxes on the money. And she had individuals' names. She had talked to the same individual more than once, but she'd gone through all this and then eventually had paid out, over $10,000 already prior to my arrival, and expecting to get several million back.
How did you finally get her convinced?
Well, the phone numbers, she had a complete list of phone numbers and names, and these phone numbers, some of them were local numbers or local area codes, but I just, I did convince, I was over there more than once, but I contacted family members to get them to try to help me, and they also responded. So I had one of her children over there, along with another family member, and they also believed it was that she was being scammed, but just could not convince her. And eventually the way I convinced her was I just started down the list and I dialed every single phone number that was on the list. And as I went down through there, everyone had been disconnected or was something other than what it was when she had spoke with them. So it was that was the first inroads into her and her believing that she had been involved, in just a scam.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, many a times throughout our careers. And who do perpetrators go after? Our most weak and vulnerable individuals, whether it be a child on child sexual abuse cases or an elderly person on, as multiple different types of elderly abuse and taking advantage of them. And I think what we're looking at is the generation of they trust people. I mean, they were called the world's greatest generation for a reason. And people are taking advantage of that. I've had similar instances, and I think you're exactly right, that the family members are going to have to be the advocate sometimes for that victim. What advice do you have if you've got a loved one, maybe that's elderly or older person, that you believe is being scammed, and it's a loved one of yours? What do you think people should be doing?
Well, certainly you want to contact your local law enforcement. You can call the sheriff's office, and we'll always have somebody respond or help you along with the situation. But then, family members, you've still got to convince the person that's, has the ability to write a check or to be scammed. You've got to convince them. So sometimes that involves the family. And then, of course, you're going to want to contact the bank or contact anything that you have a chance of stopping a payment. Once you've been scammed, you're going to want to involve them as well. But local law enforcement and family, I think, would be number one and number two.
I agree with you. Let's get the family members involved. And hey, listen, we believe you that, yes, you have a problem. And we know we have a problem because we've seen it before. And I've had to do the same thing you did and sit down with somebody and go through it. The phone numbers that you were going through, one possibility on all those is those were not actual true phone numbers, not actually hooked up to a phone line or a cell phone like that you and I would traditionally look at, but these are virtual phone numbers. They are very easy to set up. You can make them say whatever you want them to say as far as the number itself goes. And what a lot of people don't realize is that caller ID is easily fooled. This is an example of an older person using a low-tech approach to prevent a high-tech crime. I had a woman who knew the employees' names of everybody in the bank where she banked, including the evening cleaning crew. She knew everybody's name. So when the bank allegedly called her and she saw her bank's phone number and it said the bank's name, she took the phone with the LCD screen on it, the cordless phone, not a cell phone, a cordless phone. She took the whole phone down to the bank to show them. And she walked in the door with this phone and they called me in, and I thought, my hat's off to you, that you're doing a low-tech way. And she goes, well, I don't know how they made it. She assumed that maybe somebody snuck into somebody's office and made the phone call. Said, no, ma'am, you're going down the right road, but this is just, they were not in this bank at all. But you're exactly correct. This is a scam. And she solved it and prevented herself from being scammed simply because she knew everybody's name at that bank. And I think we can all agree, don't mess with the older ladies. They keep track of everything, right? Anytime we get to a homicide scene, what's the first thing you want to do? Go knock on doors and find the older people because they know exactly what the heck just happened here. I think that's great advice, and unfortunately, we're seeing this more and more from law enforcement. So not only can the phone number be spoofed, and it may not even be a real phone number, the same thing with email, where it says at the top, to, and then from. That from, I can make it say Santa Claus in about 10 seconds. It does not take me very long to set up a fake account with that. And we don't want to get too in depth into how you can go behind the scenes, but just know that, like you said, IRS, local law enforcement, no one's going to send you an email or a phone call and say, go get a gift card.
When in doubt, Art, I mean, it's as simple as, if they are who they say they are, you could hang back up, call the local number or look up the number and call back and start the conversation again. But that's not going to be, when you're being scammed, you're not going to be able, for instance, the Warren County Sheriff's Office and we have a warrant. If you call the Warren County Sheriff's Office, you're going to be able to verify that that's not us immediately. And the same with other businesses and other type of scams, often by hanging up and calling, not the same number that called you, but calling that actual business, you're able to uncover what's really going on.
I think that's great advice. Look up the number yourself, Google it, get on there, find out your local law enforcement. and no one is ever going to say you're bothering me because of this. No, there are people out there impersonating us. We're never going to fault the community for confirming we are who we say we are. And I think that's great advice.
The scams are good, Art. I mean, you know, they evolve, and you know, it's intelligent people fall for them too. I think it's about 1 in 5 or 1 in 6. You know, people eventually get scammed on some level. So it's they're pretty well. You know, there's going to be a sense of urgency where they're wanting you to fix whatever's wrong now, and they're gonna want you to pay them, and then you know, that urgency, and then also the desire to be paid are red flags that are going to let you know what you're dealing with.
Good stuff, Captain. Good stuff. Sir, as always, been a pleasure talking to you, and we'll be seeing you again.
I enjoyed it, Art. Thank you.
You have a great day.
Yes, sir.